As the operator of the Humidaire unit, you will be in charge of understanding and controlling the relative humidity of the air that will be applied to the cotton. You might have several targets to keep in mind as you do this. You may wish to attain a specific moisture content for each bale to optimize turnout for the gin's growers. You might want to use the effects of the warm, moist air to reduce hydraulic pressure on the press. You may want to apply the moist air to seed cotton at the gin stands to minimize loss in staple and strength when ginning in dry conditions. We will begin by taking a look at the air temperature controller on the remote control. This is the controller on the left. The control will not energize until the burner is started. Turn on the burner by momentarily turning the switch on the left to the right, marked with a 1, and releasing it. If the burner does not start, it will display an error code number and description on the LCD panel inside the main cabinet. This number and the date and time it occurred will be stored in the control system for future reference. Read the problem description, correct the condition that caused it, and press the button marked Select to acknowledge the error and reset the unit. After the burner comes on, this control will begin at the last temperature used. This may need to be adjusted up or down depending on ginning and weather conditions. For first-time users, we recommend starting with an air temperature of 128 degrees Fahrenheit or 53 degrees Celsius as you learn about the unit. Set this temperature by using the two arrow buttons on the lower face of the controller in the center. The flame will get large momentarily as it warms up the piping and fan. It should quickly turn back down as the temperature reading rises close to 128. If you do not see the air temperature on the upper display of the controller respond upward within 20 seconds, turn the unit off and request technical help. There may be a problem in the temperature control circuit. If all is well, the upper number displayed will soon match the lower number you have set at 128, and the flame will stabilize with a relatively small flame. In order for the water pump to turn on, three things must occur. First, the water pump switch on the remote control must be turned on. This switch can be left in this position almost all the time under normal conditions. The warm-up time delay, which is normally set to 90 seconds, must be complete. The lint flue scanner, if used, must be seeing cotton. The water temperature controller will energize when the pump turns on. We will begin with a water temperature setting of 122 degrees Fahrenheit or 50 degrees Celsius. Use the arrow buttons to make this setting. As the 2-inch water valve on the unit begins to open, the hot air will be cooled and you will see the temperature indication on the upper display of the air controller begin to fall from 128 degrees. You will soon begin to see the flame become much larger as it responds to this cooling effect from the water. Within about 10 minutes of operation, both the air and water temperatures should closely match the settings of 128 and 122 that you have made on each controller. During operation, you may find that you need more or less moisture. Sometimes cooler conditions or night ginning will call for temperature adjustments. A common mistake is to think that both temperatures must be raised or lowered together. A special tool is available to help you make and understand adjustments to the Humidaire temperatures. The Humidaire Output Guide offers an easy method of maintaining desired moist air output from the unit while reducing condensation. We will use an example to illustrate use of the guide. You have been operating smoothly all day with an air temperature of 128 and a water temperature of 122 as suggested previously. Using side 2 of the guide, enter water temperature of 122 in the top window and follow the column of air temperatures down to 128. We see that this corresponds to 29.2% output. Weather changes from dry to wet or hot to cold make the Humidaire Output Guide particularly useful. Continuing our example, the sun sets and condensation begins to form with the cooler evening temperatures. We are interested in a different temperature combination that maintains our moist air level, but may reduce the condensate. Using side 1 of the calculator, we round our 29.2% output up to 30% and put this value in the upper window. Observe the tips shown on the left under air temperature. To reduce the condensation, we follow the arrow pointing down the temperature chart. We can choose a temperature combination that continues to yield 30% output, but will reduce condensation. For this example, choosing 135 as an air temperature and leaving the water temperature at 122 will significantly reduce condensate while maintaining our performance. Choosing the lowest possible temperature combination that will prevent condensation while offering the desired output will add significantly to the life of your Humidaire unit. If more or less moisture is desired, move the slide bar on the guide to a different output level and look at the possible temperature combinations. Experience will be your guide in finding the perfect temperatures at which to operate under various conditions. Some machinery, like the Samuel Jackson steamroller or moisture tracker, may be operated with an embedded moisture sensor. When used with the moisture mirror touchscreen control system, the operator sets his preferred air temperature and enters the desired final moisture content on the touchscreen of the mirror. The moisture mirror automatically sets the water temperature to achieve desired final moisture content. If no automatic control is being used, we recommend that the operator use a Delmhorst Model C2000 digital moisture meter to occasionally check bale moisture. He should also observe press hydraulic pressure, as this is a good indicator of Humidaire performance. Water temperature may then be changed manually to achieve the desired results. Before attempting to gin cotton, turn off the water pump and let the warm, dry air from the unit evaporate any condensation that might make the lint stick to machinery. This should only take a few minutes. When starting up the gin, the Humidaire fan and burner should be the first thing turned on. This will allow more time to warm the machinery and help keep condensation minimized. For many years, Humidaire units operated so that if cotton flow stopped, the water pump would immediately turn off, changing the warm moist air to warm dry air to prevent condensation. New units like the 1255 can still operate this way. It's called the traditional mode of operation. The normal operating mode for the 1255 is relatively new. It is called enhanced mode of operation. It is a little more complex but has a number of benefits. When cotton flow stops while operating in enhanced mode, the water pump continues to run for up to 2 minutes without cotton. While the pump runs, the main water valve closes to minimize water spray and moisture output. This keeps the spray chamber from overheating due to the sudden absence of water pressure at high fire. It also provides faster resumption of moist air output if the pause in ginning is brief. The mode of operation can be changed by using the diagnostic and test routines described in the service manual. The Humidaire unit may be turned off at any time by simply turning the burner selector switch to the left, marked with a 0, and releasing it. Note that for the next 10 minutes after turning the unit off, you may hear some of the valves inside the cabinet turning on and off. This is normal. The unit performs a number of self-test diagnostics after every shutdown, including gas leak tests. It is important to leave power applied to the unit after every shutdown for at least 10 minutes so that these tests can be completed. The HU60-1255 is an advanced moisture control tool. Through practice, you, as the operator, will learn to use it as your most effective resource in moisture